More of our conversation with Martin Fletcher, who spent 40 years working as a foreign correspondent in the Middle East, Europe, and Africa, most of that time with NBC News. Now retired, Martin Fletcher traveled to Maine recently to talk about his new book, Teachers.
It's a collection of stories about inspiring people he reported on, whom he met in places like war zones and refugee camps, often when they were struggling just to stay alive. He wanted to circle back to these people because, as he says in the subtitle of the book, these are the ones he can't forget.
I mean, it's difficult to meet these people on the worst days of their lives, intrude, and then leave the next day. And you wonder, well, what happened to those people? You know, some of them I kept in touch with, most of them I didn't. Who's got time? But they all left an impression. You know?
Like Evelyn. I met her in an orphanage in Kampala, Uganda. 8 years old, HIV positive, both her parents died of AIDS. Polite. Thank you. A keen student. And especially wise beyond her years. So Eva in here, under the name of the school, says School of Struggle, and the class, instead of science or mathematics or something, she has written Class of Hope.
School of Struggle, Class of Hope. An 8-year-old girl who's an orphan HIV positive. It's I mean, what wisdom. You know, again, unforgettable.
Another child whose story stayed with him was Yahona, a smiling 5-year-old whose family had fled the war in Kosovo.
She wanted to go to the toilet, but the trouble was there was 50,000 people in a field with no toilets and no water and no food and no nothing. They had just arrived from Kosovo, the war in Kosovo. Little Yahona was in the woods, and she got left behind. So she was separated from her family and from everybody.
Lost somewhere in this mass of refugees from the war in Kosovo. She couldn't find her family. A British Army Major, Bob Soper, took her in.
She's the face of Kosovo, isn't she?
Swore to find her mother. He printed leaflets of Yahona, posted them in camps across the Balkans.
For weeks, Fletcher kept checking in on Yahona until she was finally reunited with her family. Another example of how the story of one person reflected a larger tragedy.
The point that you make again and again in Teachers is that people have extraordinary resilience, and they manage to keep going even through the most devastating of setbacks.
Because they have no choice. I mean, ultimately, the lesson is a very simple one. What are you going to do? Either you shoot yourself or you carry on.
For decades, Martin Fletcher covered some of the most dangerous stories in the world. There was only one occasion when he nearly died, when a landmine went off, badly injuring 2 journalists he was with and killing a third.
The thought has to have come into your mind on many occasions. Why did I emerge from all this unscathed when my friends and colleagues didn't make it?
Well, it may be the kind of person I am. It's literally never occurred to me. I mean, that is the kind of question you'd think you'd ask. Well, I must have been saved for a purpose. No, it was just pure luck. I mean, a lot of things have happened. I have about 10 friends, foreign correspondents, who were killed at work, and a lot more who've been wounded. And by the way, that's why that's one of the 2 key reasons I left NBC. I felt my luck was running out. I mean, how long can you be lucky for?
We had a colleague who worked at our station who came back to Maine, where he had grown up, from NBC. He'd been a correspondent at NBC in the 1980s. His name was Bob Elliott. And he worked in the Southwestern Bureau and covered floods and hurricanes and plane crashes and so forth. And he said part of the reason he came back was, quote, I got tired of walking through other people's nightmares. And it seems to me that that's what you did, Martin, for decades, is you were walking through other people's nightmares.
I have plenty of friends who are reporters who report on, you know, inspiring America and the good news today. You know, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I mean, I didn't become a journalist to make people feel happy. Plenty of other ways to feel good. I became a journalist, apart from wanting someone to pay for my travel. I became a journalist because I wanted to tell people stories. People who needed their stories to be told.
You have a nice turn of phrase about what the cumulative impact was of all these stories, all the misery, all the suffering that you reported on. You say it left scratches on your soul.
My wife gave me that phrase.
That's good writing, is to take other people's lines and put them into your own writing.
It's true, but it's true. I mean, she said that's what happened to you, and she's right. I mean, how can you not be affected by all that stuff? You know, when you're young, you rush around and it's frenetic and it's exciting and there's adrenaline and you don't think much about what's going on. But then you get older, you know, and you slow down a little bit and you start paying more attention to what you're doing, you know. And at that point, when you see all these things, of course, it leaves a scratch on your soul. That's exactly what it does.
You've seen so much of the worst of humanity. Do you have nightmares?
I don't. I get emotional sometimes when I'm talking about things, but I don't have nightmares, and I don't drink. I don't have any negative response to anything. But I become very emotional sometimes about stuff.
Given all that you've seen of humanity, at its noblest, its best, and at its most evil and vile, what do you make of the world?
Oh, I'm an optimist. I love being here. I love being here.
It's interesting because all first-rate journalists, of course, deal in facts. That's our currency. But Martin Fletcher talks about how he also tried to convey emotion in his stories. And he, in many cases, felt that was the most important thing, because that's what makes people connect with a story and makes people remember a story.
Absolutely. Well, I got misty just those first 2 moments with those 2 little kids, because you think about what Martin has seen, what he has covered, the images, but then these children, their smiles and the hope that they give you. And if we didn't have people like Martin, we wouldn't even know those stories existed.
And Martin raised 3 sons, I believe they're all boys, 3 kids of his own. So he was not immune to the suffering of children. And it's remarkable that he has such a positive outlook, considering all of the horrors that he has seen in his career. But he says he learned from the people he writes about that one should never give up hope, never stop looking for a solution. He quotes a Japanese saying, "Fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Well said. If you missed the first part of our conversation with Martin Fletcher, which aired last night, you can watch it on our website and app. You'll also find more information about Artolution, the international charity to which he's donating all the profits from his book, Teachers. Great interview, Rob.